What's good, everybody? It's MarcTheGreatest. Today's video is gonna be about not fitting in can be a good thing. And this is gonna be a part 3 to my series of my fitting in videos where I talk about you are never meant to fit in. So this is gonna be a part 3 to that series that I've been doing. And I've been doing this series for the past couple of years. So it's going to be a part 3. So not fitting in can be a good thing. And I say this because a lot of times, sometimes we were never really meant to fit in certain groups. And sometimes we may feel like a misfit in society. We may feel like other people may fit in just fine with other people. But then it's like when it comes to you, you may feel like, I don't quite vibe with these people, man. Like I feel out of place. Like I feel like this society is going way too fast for me. You know what I mean? Like you're on a different energy level. And some people can fit right in. Other people just have that trouble. And I was one of those people that had trouble with fitting in. And I didn't quite I was almost like I was a piece to a different puzzle, if you get what I'm saying. Like there are times where I just felt like I don't fit in with society, bro. There's just times where I just felt like I was just from another planet. And that's just what I feel like. And I think a lot of times when you're chosen in the world, like when you're like one of God's chosen, you're not really gonna fit in like that. You know, a lot of people may not like you or may give you the side eye. A lot of people may kind of glare at you a little bit. But it's because you're chosen to do something maybe bigger. People may look at you like you don't belong here, you know? Like I've had that plenty of times where I felt like people looked at me like I was a misfit, or I didn't quite belong here, or like you need to be doing something else. There are times where I actually felt like that. And maybe they're right sometimes, but I'm just here to tell y'all that sometimes not fitting in can be a blessing, because when you don't fit in, that tells me that you have a mind of your own. You have your own sense of individuality, you know, when you don't fit in. Water break, y'all. I'm getting comfortable on the camera, so I'm like doing what I do. You know, and when I make videos, I want to make it look like I'm comfortable with y'all, like I'm talking to y'all, because like whenever I make videos, like I always feel tense and I just want to feel like really relaxed. So that's my way of like relaxing. But anyway, sometimes not fitting in can be a good thing, because it says to society that you don't conform easily. And conforming is not always a bad thing, but I don't think it's always a good thing either. Because when you conform to everything, it just shows you that you don't have a mind of your own. And we as human beings, we're created to have minds of our own. Like, imagine a world where there were no entrepreneurs, there are no inventors, creators, business owners. The world will not thrive without those people. So we need people like that in order to thrive. Now, we also need the workers. We need the accountants. We need the electricians. We need the plumbers, the welders, the HVAC people. We need IT specialists. We need workers, of course. But we also need people that think outside of the box. And really, I think that's where fitting in goes wrong when you conform too much into society. You know, I made a video about non-conformity and how you'll be hated for not fitting in and for not conforming to society as a whole. And I'm here to tell y'all that, it's actually a good balance to have a little bit of both, where you conform to a certain level, but then you also have your own individuality. I think there's a fine line between conforming and fitting in. Because it's like you can actually do both, honestly. It's like sometimes you don't want to stand out so much, but you don't also, there's just some people where it's like you don't want to fit in so much that you don't have a mind of your own and you're letting something else dictate your life. I think conformity comes a problem when you discover that something else is dictating your life. You're not taking control of your own life. Like, I think that's where conformity goes wrong. But I think individuality goes wrong when you do too much of what you want. Like, when you're like breaking rules, you're being extremely rebellious, you're causing harm to other people. I think that's where individuality goes wrong. But if you're like in the middle, where like, okay, I'll do this to fit in a little bit, but I'm also doing my own thing. I think that's where it's at. Like, that's what I do. I don't stand out to the point where I'm like so much of a misfit, but I also have my own mind. I also have my own thoughts. I'm a human being, and you're supposed to have your own thoughts. You're not supposed to be you don't always want to be a follower, because when you're a follower, you're letting something else or someone else dictate where your life goes. Okay, that's what I want to say. Like, and when you let someone else dictate where your life goes, you give them power to hurt you as well. So it's like people, and I don't mean to bash people's living situations. So for an example, when you live on government assistance, for example, you give the power, like people that live on, government assistance, you give the power to the government to either help you or hurt you. Well, both. You're giving power to the government to help you and hurt you. And if either of them happens, you don't have any control. So that's kind of what conformity is like. Conformity is like you're giving someone else power to help you or hurt you. And I don't think that is all the way good. I think you can conform, but when you completely conform, it's like you're just like a robot. You're an NPC. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, okay, he said do this, I'm gonna do this. They said do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, you're a robot. Like, you're not thinking. And I think that's what the world doesn't want you to do. A lot of the world doesn't like critical thinkers and people that think something else besides what's being told. And I think all this plays a part in fitting in and not fitting in society. Like, fitting in is basically conforming. And I mean, to a certain degree, you might have to conform, but in other areas, it's like you want to think for yourself, especially when it comes to your livelihood, your finances, who you date. You want to be knowledgeable in certain areas so that you don't go, so that you don't go astray and that you don't lead yourself into a hole, you know. So this is part 3 to why you were never meant to fit in. I think this part is explaining both sides of fitting in and not fitting in. And I think if you have a little bit of both, if you're like in the middle where you have a little bit of this and you have a little bit of that, I think that's a good thing, honestly. That's kind of how I roll. Like, I have a little bit of both. I'm like, okay, I'll do a little bit, but I'm not gonna do too much. Because I know where it's headed if I do too much of either. You know what I mean? But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. This video honestly was a chill video, man. I want to make it look like that I'm just talking to y'all, like, you know, like a conversation, you know? Because I don't want to make it seem like it's scripted and like, you know how like a lot of YouTubers like just sitting on camera and they're like, they just like they write down a script and then they're like, it's almost like some of them are like robotic, no shade, but like a lot of them are like robotic, like, okay, in this video, like, I'm like, y'all, this is a conversation. We're talking to people here, you know what I mean? So I want to make it look like I'm just talking to y'all, man. Like conversation, like, hey, you're my homie, she's my homie, he's my homie, you know, like y'all my homies, man. Like we gotta, you know. But thank y'all for watching. If you're new, like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day, everybody. MarcTheGreatest. Peace.